I don't know how long I stood there gripping the phone, my knuckles white, the river roaring beneath me like it was waiting for a decision. Her breathing crackled through the line, uneven, fragile. It sounded human, too human to dismiss. "Lena," I said. My voice didn't sound like mine anymore. It sounded smaller. "Where are you?" "I can't tell you," she whispered. "Please don't ask me that. They monitor everything. If they hear me say too much, I disappear for good." That word again. They. Every scam story has villains without faces. But when someone gives fear a voice, your brain fills in the blanks for them. "I thought you were gone," I said. "I thought you took everything and vanished." She sobbed softly, not loud, controlled, as if she'd practiced this exact rhythm of guilt. "I didn't take it," she said. "I swear on my father's grave. I was just the bridge. They used my face, my voice, my accounts. When you sent the money, it went straight through me. I never touched it." A pause. "Mark, I tried to warn you without scaring you." That sentence hit me harder than any insult ever could. I stepped away from the railing and sat on the cold concrete. My legs wouldn't hold me anymore. "Why come back now?" I asked. "Why tonight?" "Because I saw the alerts," she said. "The loan, the validation fee. That wasn't supposed to happen. They're squeezing you because they think you're finished." My chest tightened. "So you are watching," I said. "Yes," she whispered. "And that's why this call is dangerous. But I couldn't let you die thinking I never cared." There it was. Not love, not greed, care. The most lethal word in the English language when you're broken. "I almost jumped," I said before I could stop myself. The line went dead silent. Then her voice came back, sharper, panicked. "No, Mark, listen to me. Don't do that, please. Whatever you think you lost, it's not worth your life. You're not weak, you're human. They exploit that." I pressed my forehead against my knees and laughed once. A hollow sound. "You sound like you're on my side now." "I always was," she said. "I just didn't know how to get out." She told me her role was small, that she had been recruited years ago after her own loss, that they promised her freedom if she brought in investors, that every time she hesitated, they reminded her they knew where her mother lived, where her sister worked. Fear wrapped in obligation. Whether it was true or not, it was believable, and belief was my weakness. "I can help you get some of it back," she said carefully. "Not all, but enough to stop the bleeding." My heart lurched. "How?" "There's a window," she said. "A real one this time. The system flagged your account as high risk, but also high value. That gives me leverage. But I need you to trust me one last time." One last time. Those words should have terrified me. Instead, they felt like a rope being lowered into a pit. "I don't have anything left," I said. "No money, no credit, nothing." "You still have access," she replied. "That's enough. I'll guide you step by step, slowly, carefully. No more big transfers, I promise." I closed my eyes.
Somewhere in my mind, a quiet voice screamed that this was wrong, that this was the same pattern wearing a different mask. But louder than that voice was another one, desperate and shaking, saying, "What if this is the only chance you'll ever get to fix it?" "I need proof," I said weakly. "Something real." She sent me a screenshot while we were still on the call, an internal dashboard, my name, my balance, numbers I recognized, numbers that shouldn't still exist. "They haven't closed you yet," she said. "That means there's time." I went back to my apartment before dawn. The bridge disappeared behind me like a bad dream I hadn't finished having. We stayed on the phone for hours, whispering like fugitives. She told me not to contact the police again, not to speak to Daniel, not to respond to the bank yet. "Too many eyes," she said. "We move quietly." By sunrise, exhaustion replaced fear, and exhaustion makes promises sound reasonable. Before we hung up, she said something that sealed it. "Mark, if I wanted to hurt you, I would have stayed gone." I believed her. That was the moment I didn't realize I had crossed a line.
Trust doesn't come back all at once. It creeps in quietly, disguised as relief. The days after that call moved differently, slower, controlled. Lena messaged only at specific times, short windows, no emojis, no warmth, just instructions wrapped in concern. "Don't log in yet. Wait for my signal. If anyone contacts you, say nothing." It felt strategic, professional, like someone who finally understood the danger. And that's how she rebuilt herself in my mind, not as a miracle, not as a lover, but as an ally. She explained that the platform was still mirrored somewhere, a shadow version used internally before accounts were shut down completely. She said she had temporary access through a supervisor account that would expire soon. "Once it's gone," she warned, "there's no way back in." Every scam rushes you. This one paced me. On the third night, she asked me to log in. My hands hovered over the phone. My body reacted before my mind. Shallow breathing, tight chest, sweat in my palms. Trauma has muscle memory. "I can't," I typed. "Every time I open that app, I feel sick." "I know," she replied almost instantly. "That's why I'm here. I won't let you do this alone." I logged in. The dashboard loaded. Not the spinning wheel, not the error screen. Numbers, balances, my name. I stared so long, my eyes burned. "They keep ghost balances visible to track behavior," she said. "It doesn't mean the money is there. It means it's reachable." Reachable. Another dangerous word. She walked me through menus I'd never noticed before. Subaccounts, liquidity pools, things that sounded complex enough to be true. She told me to screen record everything, for evidence. "You're doing great," she said. "Slow, just like this." For the first time since the bridge, my hands stopped shaking. That night, she didn't ask for money. She asked for patience. The next day, an email arrived. Not threatening, not urgent, polite. Subject, account review, pending resolution. She told me not to reply. "They're testing to see if you panic," she said. "You don't. That's how you win." Win. I hadn't thought about winning in months. Over the next week, she fed me progress in fragments. A released flag, a lifted restriction,
A balance moved from pending to processing. Always just enough to keep me steady, never enough to celebrate. She also isolated me carefully. When Daniel texted, "Checking on you, man," she said, "He means well, but outsiders complicate things." When the bank called again, she said, "They'll freeze everything if they sense movement." Even my own doubt became something she managed. "Your fear makes sense," she said once. "It means you're learning. Just don't let it sabotage you." I stopped sleeping again. Not from despair this time, but vigilance. I woke up to check messages, to make sure I hadn't missed a window. Hope is exhausting when you're afraid it might expire. Then came the request. Not money, not directly. "Mark," she said on a call, voice low, serious. "I need you to do something that's going to sound strange." I didn't answer. "To release the remaining funds," she continued, "the system requires a clean transaction history. Yours is flagged because of the loan. That tells them you're unstable." I swallowed. "So what do we do?" "We stabilize it." She explained that I needed to receive money, not send it. A temporary inflow, something to rebalance the algorithm. She said she could route it through me, but it needed a verified endpoint. "Do you still have your old joint account?" she asked casually. "The one with Emily?" The name hit me like ice water. I haven't touched that in years." "That's why it's perfect," she said gently. "No recent activity, no flags, just history, stability." I stared at the wall. That account wasn't just numbers. It was a ghost, a place I couldn't bring myself to close because closing it felt like burying her again. "I don't want to involve that," I said. She didn't push. She waited. Silence has weight when someone knows exactly how long you can carry it. "I wouldn't ask," she finally said, "if there was any other way." I told myself this wasn't about greed. It was about repair, about undoing damage, about survival. That night, I logged into the account I hadn't opened since Emily died. The balance was small compared to everything else, but it was the last thing in my life that hadn't been touched. When I sent Lena the confirmation screenshot, she replied with a single message: "Thank you for trusting me." And in that moment, I felt something terrifyingly familiar. Relief. That was the night I learned something important. A scam doesn't always take what you have.
Sometimes it waits patiently for what you're still protecting. The transfer from Emily's account didn't take hours. It didn't even take minutes. It vanished instantly. No confirmation window, no pending status, no second chance, just silence. That was when I didn't reach for my phone anymore. I already knew. I opened the platform one last time, not with hope, but with clarity. The dashboard was gone, not frozen, not glitching, erased. A blank white screen stared back at me, like a wall after a fire where a house used to be. I sat there longer than I'd like to admit, waiting for something I knew wouldn't come. Lena never messaged again. No apology, no explanation, no final lie to soften the ending. Because the ending had already served its purpose. That night, something inside me finally broke cleanly instead of shattering. There was no panic left to exploit, no hope left to bait. Just a quiet, devastating understanding. This wasn't a mistake. This was a system. The next morning, I returned to the police station.
same desk, same tired fluorescent lights. But I was different. I wasn't there to beg for recovery. I was there to document reality. The officer listened as I explained the second phase, the return, the guilt, the rescue act, the isolation, the final extraction. He nodded slowly and said something I wish I had known months earlier. That's not a second scam. That's the end of the first one. They call it the resurrection. He told me it's designed for people who are already broken, people who will believe anything if it sounds like redemption, people who don't want justice, they want relief. Lena wasn't trapped. She wasn't coerced. She wasn't trying to save me. She was the most valuable asset they had. And I wasn't her victim the first time. I was her investment. The weeks that followed were quiet in a different way, the kind of quiet that comes after the damage is done and there's nothing left to take. I lost my job, I sold the apartment, I declared bankruptcy. I packed boxes in rooms that echoed with memories I couldn't afford anymore. I folded clothes that belonged to a man who believed his future was secure. I let go of objects that once symbolized safety, stability, permanence. But something unexpected happened during that collapse. The shame loosened its grip. When you've lost everything, hiding stops making sense. So I started talking. First to a counselor, then in online support groups, then in comment sections under scam awareness videos. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I posted the screenshots, the messages, the phrases she used, the exact steps. And one night, weeks later, a message landed in my inbox. A stranger. He wrote, "Hey, I think I'm talking to the same woman." My chest tightened. He described her profile, her words, the way she asked about his past, the crypto platform, even the timing. He was exactly where I had been, right before the retirement transfer. I didn't hesitate. I called him. I told him everything. Every lie, every manipulation, every phase. I told him how it ends. There was a long silence on the line. Then he said something I'll never forget. "I thought I was crazy for feeling uneasy. She told me not to talk to anyone." That's when it hit me. This is how karma works in my story. Not through revenge, not through arrests or exposés, but through interruption. He didn't send the money. He deleted the app. He blocked the contact. He walked away. And for the first time since all of this began, something inside me felt steady. They took my money. They took my years. But they don't get to keep the pattern going unchallenged. That's why I'm telling this story now. Not for sympathy, not for pity, but as a warning. If someone online makes you feel uniquely understood, if they rush intimacy and isolate you from others, if money becomes tied to secrecy, urgency, or one last step, that's not connection. That's a script. And I've lived through every page of it. My name is Marcus Hale. If my story stopped even one person from falling into the same trap, then it wasn't the end of me. It was the beginning of something else. If you want to hear more real stories like this, if you want to understand how these scams really work, if you want to protect yourself and the people you love, subscribe to Scammer Karma. Because awareness doesn't come from silence. And sometimes, the only way to break the cycle is to tell the truth out loud.